So in a previous video, I talked about an approach to questions involving the primary purpose of a passage, namely the idea of reading the passage with the goal of formulating a 3 to 5 word summary. Here we're going to look at some main idea questions, and I'm going to recommend the exact same thing. Now we'll find that maybe it's kind of hard to come up with a 3-word summary or even a 5-word summary, but if it ends up being 6 or 7 or 8, it's no big deal. The idea is we want to be focusing on, if this isn't a mixed metaphor, focusing on the big picture. Can you focus on the big picture? Keeping an eye on the big picture as opposed to getting lost in the details. And so using this strategy can help you do that. So let's just go ahead and get into it here. So urban planners worldwide are working to improve traffic flow and reduce congestion in growing cities. And in many cases, data-driven solutions have proven to be particularly effective. In an effort to ease congestion in a major metropolitan area, city officials partnered with technology firms to implement an adaptive traffic lighting system that uses real-time traffic data to adjust signal timing. By analyzing traffic patterns and responding dynamically, the system reduces bottlenecks and improves overall traffic efficiency. Okay, and so here we could say something like data-driven approach, less traffic. Okay, less traffic, that's a shorthand for, fewer traffic issues, improved traffic flow, reduced congestion, etc. And so that's actually 5 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus an arrow. Let's see how close that gets us to our correct answer. And so another thing to keep in mind on main idea questions is that your correct answer, this is certainly true on the official test, but it's something that these questions should also reflect, these unofficial questions, and that is that the correct answer is not going to copy and paste from the passage. Generally speaking, you're not going to have verbatim words or phrases, really distinct words or phrases copied and pasted from the passage. And the lengthier that portion is that's copy and pasted, the more likely the answer choice is to be a trap and therefore to be incorrect. But let's just read our answers here. So, a partnership between city officials and technology firms highlights the importance of collaboration in managing urban traffic. Now, this could be really tempting, especially if we hadn't really, thought about summarizing it beforehand, because it does talk about a collaboration. It does talk about a collaboration, this partnership between city officials and technology firms. But is that the main idea? Not really. We've got 3 sentences, and only one of them talks about the collaboration, whereas all 3 of them talk about using data-driven solutions to improve traffic flow. So I'm going to say, well, we can put a question mark by it, but it doesn't seem to capture the main idea. Whereas B, analytics-based approaches, data-driven solutions, data-driven approaches can be effective ways to mitigate traffic congestion in cities. Okay, mitigate traffic congestion, reduce congestion, improve traffic flow, analytics-based approaches, data-driven solutions. We have a lot of good matches between the answer and the passage without having the exact same words. It's also a good reflection of this brief little summary. That's what we're looking for in a correct answer on a main idea question. C, as demonstrated by a recent project, adaptive traffic lights can help reduce congestion. That's a little bit too narrow. Adaptive traffic lights, that's a specific example of something that is used, but it's not even something that is particularly data-driven in and of itself. And so we want to keep in mind on these main idea questions that the details are not the main idea. They're there to support the main idea. And then D, traffic engineers now recognize that data-driven approaches are always superior to traditional traffic management strategies. This is another common red flag, and that is the extreme answer choice, especially one that goes beyond anything that we can say in the passage. So they're not saying that this is always better than these other approaches. It's just saying that it can reduce traffic, mitigate traffic congestion. And so our correct answer there would be B. Now let's try one involving a fiction passage. And on these, I would definitely always want to make sure to read whatever introductory information they give us here. So this character is deeply involved in the study of alchemy. Okay, so Jose Arcadio Buendia became fascinated with the idea of turning base metals into gold. For weeks, he locked himself in his workshop, performing experiment after experiment, filling notebooks with observations that only he could understand. But instead of uncovering the secrets of alchemy, he discovered his love of learning itself. Each failure was a revelation, a step closer to knowledge, though never to the desired result. He would later say that the journey mattered more than the destination. Okay, so here I'm just going to say alchemy, arrow, learning, just to show that we can get it down to 3 words, even 2 words sometimes. And the idea is that, you don't have to get something that's a complete sentence that you could understand next week or next month. Like, as I write alchemy, arrow, learning, I know what I mean, that his initial interest in alchemy and his study of alchemy didn't lead to expertise in alchemy itself. It led to an interest in the broader process of learning in general. And how about that? We look at A, and that is a really good match. His fascination with alchemy led him to a deeper appreciation of the process of discovery. So discovery, learning. Alchemy, can't really come up with a great synonym for it. It's a very specific thing. But I think that would be the correct answer. Looking at the others, though, despite his love of learning, his experiments ultimately failed to yield any significant results. Well, that kind of gets the emphasis backward. They're emphasizing the discovery of learning and his love of learning more so than they are emphasizing, when I say they, our author is emphasizing the love of learning more so than any shortcomings related to his alchemical pursuits. And so that gets the emphasis wrong. His efforts at alchemy demonstrated his resilience and determination in the face of failure. Well, this is another one, kind of like A on this one, that might have been tempting if we hadn't been proactive and really gotten it down, that no, this is really about the transition from focusing on alchemy to appreciating learning in general. It's not about resilience and determination in the face of failure. Even though he did experience failures, it doesn't emphasize anything about determination. It talks about the journey, but again, this could be, tempting, but that's such a better encapsulation of what we get from simply reading it in an unbiased fashion without the answer choices to bias us. That is going to be the correct answer, and C is a distraction. And then D, the allure of alchemy for this character was primarily rooted in its promise of material wealth. So we don't actually know anything about the allure. And then this word primarily, it doesn't guarantee that it's wrong, but it definitely would mean that we would need stronger support in order to actually choose it with any confidence. So, perhaps it was rooted in this. Even if we took out the word primarily, the main idea of the passage isn't the allure of alchemy for the character. Again, it is the sort of transformation in his appreciation for the process of learning. Now, both of these questions that we've looked at are perhaps more representative of something that one would see on the first module or the medium level of the question bank. In part 2, we will look at some more complex examples where, yes, we still want to start out with that 3 to 5 word summary, but we might then need to do some additional combing through the answer choices. And so I'll talk about how we can do that and eliminate those half right but tempting wrong answers.